What is going on, everyone? My name's Boyd, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the right side of the map in the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is Chemo. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Oranos. His name is Tiger Boss, the boss of the Tigers. We got an Oranos versus Ra for you here on Painted Desert. Painted Desert is the desert we're playing on. And Tiger Boss, if you guys don't know, Tiger Boss is I think he, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he is Turkish, but he has recently been performing incredibly well in tournaments, mostly just playing his Atlantean, playing his Uranus, playing his Cronus, playing his Gaia, and he's been doing a really, really good job of it. And not only that, he's been holding top 3 positions on the Voodoo ladder over the past couple of weeks. So this guy, he's come up from nowhere and he's shown everyone that you can play this game later than these experts and you can get to their level, or at least somewhat to their level with something here. And he's going to be showing us some Uranus in this game, but he does have his work cut out for him here in this game. He has to deal with Chemo's Ra. Chemo's Ra is no easy feat to deal with at all. We're seeing what looks to be a hunting dogs build order here from Chemo. 7 villagers straight to the food, jumping over onto the gold mine. These are some old school builds from Chemo. I'm not sure exactly what his plan is here. Maybe he's been watching some I Am Joe recorded games thinking, you know what, Joe did good with his bad builds. Let's steal some of those. Anyways, we'll see how it's all going to go for him. You can see that if you put 7 villagers on food really early, you're going to have a lot of food to use with no other resources to really use with it. So your temple's going to be late, your monument's going to be late, your house is going to be on time, but your wood's going to come in a little bit late, all of these things. But it does mean you're 100% going to have the resources you need to get to the next age, as Chemo is just going all onto this gold mine. We see an initial house coming down, a bit surprised to not see that one on the tower. If you're a little bit worried about your house not getting up in time, the timer to remember is so long as you start the house before your 14th population slot as Egyptian, then you're going to get the house up. For the Greeks and the Norse players, if you start it before the 15th population comes up, you're going to get it up in time. So Egyptians 14 and Greek and Norse is 15, as we are seeing that temple coming up. So Chemo is attempting to rush the classical age here. He wants a second town center desperately in this game. That's what this means. There's very, very little other strategies here for Ra here. He's going 4 minutes. He's trying to get to the classical age. He's trying to get himself his town center up, and there is the 404-ish. I think it's supposed to be a 402, but Chemo has that one, and he is going to be making his way, I would assume, making his villagers over onto this gold tier and seeing what he can do. I guess the other option here for Chemo is going to be early game cheese, which we don't see very often from Ra because it is incredibly all in. If you don't deal damage, it's really, really bad. And Ra has no scout. So you don't have any idea where your opponent is getting anything from. So if we take a look at Tiger Boss's base, so he'll be going through Prometheus roundabout now. Let's see his base. He's got a gold mine over here. Chemo is going through on the wrong side. He's going to have a rhino underneath this town center here. And he does have some villages up on this location where a mana might get produced fairly quickly here. And this, the Pharaoh does actually manage to somehow, some way, immediately find the gold mine. So Chemo's got some night vision, as it seemed like he was going this way at first, but he does swing in and he manages to find a gold mine here, as the Pharaoh is going to sit here and start slinging rocks, doing 11... Was it 11 damage a hit? Something like 11 damage a hit here to these villagers. Can take them down so very, very fast here. The villagers have to pull off this gold mine, and Chemo is getting some value out of this early game build, and he's got a lot of villagers on the gold right now. He went through Ptah here. He's probably going to stay one town center. I would be surprised to see a second town center coming through here. It's a little bit of a risky biscuit, as we are also seeing the Wadjet coming in. The Pharaoh and Pharaoh and Priest Priest are here to deal with the Promethean as we see a Valor getting cast here. And that's going to potentially mean that the units have to retreat, but it's seemingly looking like they're not ready to engage just yet as Tiger Boss is retreating back. The villager here, very, very low HP. We see counter barracks coming up over here. We've got the citizen has moved its way over onto this gold mine. Completely standard reaction to early game pressure on the home gold mine. You don't need to do all too much to defend against it. We've got ourselves one Terma coming out. And generally speaking here, the actual answer when your Egyptian opponent goes for this is you can just go one town center fast heroic, and it's really, really strong. Or two town center fast heroic here. If you can get the town center up, you can just go straight to the heroic age. And because the Ra player has put so many resources, effective resources, into this early game harassment by not having their Pharaoh in their base, your economy is just a powerhouse and theirs is not. So you can definitely think about those kind of strats, skipping out on those kind of weak Terma against Egyptian, against Ra specifically, but skipping out on those Terma, jumping straight towards the Destroyers, the Hyperion, the Chaos, all the good stuff there, and going for sort of gold staves with some Sky Passage shenanigans, getting later town centers. All very, very good, as we do see the Gazelle getting taken out over here. The villagers making their way up onto this mining camp over here as well, as because Tiger Boss went for an early game fast second town center. He's not going to have anything to really use to pressure this gold mine. This hunt over here is still getting gathered by Chemo, as all that early pressure has meant that he's been able to get onto this hunt. But for how long? He does have shifting sands, so if he wants to pull these villagers off, he can bring a whole bunch of the enemy units in and kind of shifting sands into his base and keep his villagers alive here, which might be the idea that he's going for, as we do see a shockwave onto this position here, going to be taking these guys down. The villagers are simply just going to be retreating now. No need to use the shifting sands. There is no shockwave available now, as Tiger Boss used that shockwave to take down a Wadjet, and the villagers making their way into the hometown center. They do have themselves a herdable or two here, or three. The villagers on the wood over here doing their best. Meanwhile, over here on this position, one random term are going to be retreating away, and Tiger Boss here, and still not on his second town center. His food situation, he's going 3 town centers here. I would say this is incredibly greedy from Tiger Boss, considering the food situation that he has, because he's producing double Terma. You basically need to have something like 6 villagers on food in order to make these 3 town centers work, and he just doesn't have that just yet. One of these town centers that he's built here is no longer producing villagers just yet, so it's a wasted town center at this point. So Chemo is actually living the dream right now, even though Tiger Boss is potentially going to be getting a very, very strong boom with some very, very exposed second gold mines. So we'll see if Tiger Boss can make this work or not. He's now starting that second villager here. More villagers moving forward onto these giraffes into the middle of the map to throw mana down here and be nice and protected. And essentially here, Tiger Boss is saying, I'm not going to do any damage to your main base. I need to stop you getting gold. I need to stop you from on your second gold mine. I need you to expire your home gold mine as early as possible so that I can pressure that later. As we are now seeing triple barracks coming down for Chemo, armory coming down. There is a potential here for mass slingers as a defense against the Terma. Now, if you're set, it's a decent idea because the slingers have got that bonus. But as Ra, no bonus on the slingers makes them a little bit weaker than otherwise. We see Rain coming in here as the Terma coming through for some raids. There is still no Skin of the Rhino in just yet. This random tower here, he's actually going to take down a Terma. That's actually normally not what happens. The Termas run fast enough to dodge towers, so that's a thing there. Is now Chemo just about to get his barracks up, still not advancing to the next age. Tiger Boss is on 3 town centers here, but one not building villages just yet. He will start those villages very shortly. Lots of villagers on food. Gonna have to start thinking about throwing those farms down, getting in plow, moving forward onto more hunt, taking villagers off of wood wouldn't be a bad idea. Starting to think about throwing down barracks so that he doesn't go mass Terma into potentially mass camelry, which will be coming out from Chemo immediately, it would seem. If we take a look at what Chemo's actually building here. He's got himself a whole bunch of those spearmen here. There is a fairly wild strategy here or attempt that Chemo could make in this position, which could be, as I randomly click play fast, which could be a shifting sands onto a town center in the back. But we do see that shifting sands just into the box here. And I was getting excited about potential shifting sands shenanigans, but we are not going to be seeing that. We're just seeing mass spearmen getting built. We've got forward barracks now coming down for Tiger Boss. Tiger Boss going to try and get out of this wall, but does very little damage to these walls with the Terma. And that's a big win there for Chemo with that God Power. But now the town centers are set up, the farms are set up. Those Terma, honestly, they are fodder. You don't need, like, the Terma are kind of useless here. Against Spearmen, you want to be making Murmillo, you want to be making Caraballas, you want to make Arcus, maybe even Destroyers, but the Terma kind of useless at this point. So we are seeing a nice transition away from the Terma into more Murmillo, and those farms are going to continue coming down. One thing that will be really good here for Tiger Boss will be to be in the heroic age, having irrigation, as these villagers are making a break for it. Tiger Boss doesn't really have the units to fight here just yet. So this is some nice raids that are coming in with the help of the Caraballas, so that's going to do a lot of damage to these spearmen. But we see the spearmen making a dive onto one of those Caraballas, as these two citizens will be retreating away from here. Caraballas in the back, going to be firing in onto these spearmen here. The army retreating away for Tiger Boss, as Chemo has seemingly gotten a very strong army very quick off the back of that rain. The third town center is also down for Chemo here, as we see a big shockwave here in this situation, going to be giving a lot of advantage over to Tiger Boss in this fight. But the Pharaoh are coming in here, going to try and take down these Prometheans that are doing a lot of damage to the Egyptian army. But the Pharaoh getting chased down by a couple of villagers, and will be able to put a stop to that, allowing those Prometheans to get max value. The Caraballas in the back still doing a lot of damage to these spearmen, and in that moment, Chemo's deciding, well, better retreat away. While this is all going on, if we take a look at Chemo's base, he's on this gold mine. He's on this gold mine. No mining camp just yet, but he is on that gold mine there, so we'll be able to throw that mining camp down fairly soon. Meanwhile, pair of golden lions up in this position has not gone the wayside of either player. It's such a big relic. Had Tiger Boss picked this up in the early game, that early game Pharaoh harass would have been null and void, because one pair of golden lions would have pushed the Pharaoh back and he would have been completely fine. Little things like that go a long way. Pair of golden lions, it gives you 2 golden lions, and those lions are strong. They're effectively 90%, 80% of a hoplite, and 1 hoplite, 2 hoplites, enough to beat a Pharaoh most of the time. It's actually faster than a hoplite as well. I think it moves at 5.0 speed, as we do see the spearmen wandering through the main base of Tiger Boss, trying to steal the goat here, trying to get onto those citizens. Spearmen are very quick. They're actually faster than the Uranus army at this point, apart from the Terma. If there's Terma out there, they can chase them down, but 5.0 speed, very good. As Chemo is now full population here. His walls coming up on this position. We've got forward buildings coming in. The spearmen coming through. The villagers trying to shank down these Caraballas as they're getting pulled back. More barracks coming up. And the spearmen coming in on the backside. They see these villagers eating the elephant, as Tiger Boss is going to be making a retreat away from this position. We'll be losing 1 citizen here, so that's a big win for Chemo. But I'm sure that Tiger Boss is basically full villager population now, so he can just restart that villager he lost, rebuild it if he so chooses. But Faya just about to pop for Tiger Boss. Chemo, on the other hand, going through Sekhmet. Sekhmet being a relatively recent, incredibly strong pick for Ra in this matchup. The idea being that you just click on your temple, right-click on your temple with the scarab getting built into it, and then you use that scarab to deny any serious damage with a Tartarian gate. And you can even get 2 scarabs out if you want. Really smart to do that. And then the natural follow-on from said adaptation is, well, get your Stymphalian bird in there to try and take out the scarab. And then we need more units to come in and try and defend. And then a Pharaoh comes in, and the more units come in, and it starts being a thing. But Tiger Boss now in the in the heroic age. He's got himself his marker down in the corner of the map. He's going to be going up through Hecate. There will be no surprises there, though I actually think that maybe going for Helios here wouldn't be a bad idea. And he is deciding to go through Helios. He sees the segment, he sees the Citadel, and he's like, well, that means that Hecate, a completely waste of time going through Helios instead. That a Scarab for Chemo, where is it? It's actually moving forward, going to be cleaning up some of these forward buildings. So we'll see if Tiger Boss is going to be able to make this work, because effectively, if you are going Helios, you do not want Arcus, you do not want Caraballista. You basically just want hack damage dealing units. You want to pressure one side of the map and have a unit ready to get line of sight on the other side of the map. You bring all the pressure over one side, and then you teleport on the other side. You kill a town center, you move citizen in, you throw a palace down, and that is how you get an advantage with Helios, especially with those Hecagigantes. You have to catch your opponent a little bit by surprise here, as Chemo is probably going through Osiris here as well, and that's going to be a really, really big deal for Chemo, as he's also throwing up double walls in classic Chemo fashion here. More villagers in the front getting taken out as Tiger Boss is biding his time here. I'd love to see him attempt to get straight to the Titan Age behind this as well. He does have fortified town centers coming in, and the trade route is going to be starting. Let's check out Chemo's point of view here. His market is in. Where is the Scarab? The Scarab coming back home to defend, but it's going to be relatively useless here in this position, because there is nothing coming. We see the Murmillo coming in onto this position, but you kind of almost don't want a Vortex here, but we're probably going to be seeing that as the army pushing in over here. This is very telegraphed, as we are indeed seeing the first of 3 Vortexes coming in onto this position. Mercenary cavalry queued up, taking this town center down will mean these villages, all these farms that are so beautifully placed here from Chemo, will stop existing as a resource that he can grab from. But fortified town centers in, no masons just yet. We've got masons coming in, so this town center is going to be even harder to take down. The Scarab goes down very, very quickly. The mercenary cavalry here getting targeted down as the destroyer is doing its darnest, and there is the mummy coming through. There is the son of Osiris coming through. The mummy going to wander over here, take down that Hecagigantes very, very quickly. In fact, instantaneously, one might expect, unless he clicks on it, which he does indeed do, and that's going to mean that the town center lives another day. And this has to be said, Arcus, Caraballista here, no help. Destroyers, Murmillo, Hecagigantes, that's what you need for that initial attack. As more units coming in onto this position, we still got those Arcus here as well, as a forward palace has come through for Tiger Boss, as he's going to attempt to move in to his opponent's base. Here we see one hero Arcus getting created, trying to take down these units. A huge shockwave coming in, hitting every single one of that Egyptian army there, as those chariot archers going to be retreating away. And we'll see if Tiger Boss can come in and get that damage done or not, as the chariot archers taking down a whole bunch of units here. The destroyers getting in onto these chariot archers in the back here, as the Wadjet getting taken down by that hero Arcus as well. And we're seeing the army trying to push in here, as these villagers on this gold mine, they're doing a nice job getting the gold income, but they might actually have to retreat away, as Chemo is bringing in his son of Osiris, and that's going to be the big ticket to hold this push that Tiger Boss is trying to do here. These Arcus in the back just way too, well, they're not necessarily strong, they're not necessarily weak. They've got the range to deal with the son of Osiris, but with Amygdala strongholds here, Chemo's just going to be able to garrison, ungarrison, garrison, ungarrison, and just live the absolute dream here, as another catapult rolling in. We'll see if he's going to be able to target down the palace here or not with that one. Chemo's a 170 population as well, so he's got an extra 10 population to play with that he otherwise wouldn't have. as we're also seeing some raids coming in onto this position. A mummy is actually an incredibly good raiding tool against the Atlantean economy because he one-hits villagers. So these villagers sitting on these farms that would normally be fairly safe against their town center, they're going to fall every 20 seconds, which is actually a big deal when you think about it. Not only that, you get that minion that helps out as well. Meanwhile, over here, Son of Osiris, very, very low HP. This is classic Chemo, always going to have that 100 HP Son of Osiris that just never says die. As over here we see another citizen falling to the might of that mummy there on the raid over here. We've got villagers moving up onto this gold mine over here. Probably going to be throwing down a Migdol stronghold fairly shortly as more Arcus coming out. They're not going to be able to do all too much against these villagers that do have themselves skin of the Rhino. Mummy still picking everything off over here. You do need a micro onto those citizens, and I don't think that the special works on... it doesn't work on caravans, so you have to be microing that one a little bit there. It's not happening just yet, but Chemo's definitely concerned with his Son of Osiris here. Meanwhile, the Arcus getting taken down over here. Still no Migdol getting thrown up by Chemo. A bit surprised to see that one there as the Siege Towers wandering through here, trying to tank. We see the Son of Osiris here attempting to retreat back as the Arcus does manage to get a little bit of damage dealt there. 170 HP remaining. The Arcus do outrange said Son of Osiris very, very nicely here. So you do see some stutter step micro there and away from Chemo, just pulling just a little bit back before shooting again to pull those Arcus in so that they're getting closer and closer to the Chariot Arch. Very, very nice play from Chemo as Tiger Boss is still trying to hold this position, but the catapult in the back doing absolute wonders to take down this palace here, which does not have masons, does not have architects, no building upgrades where that's concerned. As over here we see that Migdol stronghold coming down will secure this gold mine, potentially also this gold mine as well. It's just going to be really, really big. And Tiger Boss has got to ask himself, maybe he's got an issue with gold here. He's got a little bit of gold left. He does have 2 of these vortexes remaining, which honestly, come to think of it, maybe the idea here from Tiger Boss should have been Titan, forcing his opponent to go Titan and then just Vortex on the enemy Titan gate, but not going for that and instead just kind of fighting. We do see that Chemo's Son of Osiris has fallen now, so there is a possibility that Tiger Boss can fight back, but Chemo's economy is absolutely ridiculously strong now. He's starting up his trade route. His Pharaoh's on the wrong market, but what can you do? He's starting up his trade route. He's going to be absolutely huge economically very, very shortly. We do see an Heca Gigantes coming in here, taking down one of those Migdol strongholds or preventing that from coming up. But the thing about Heca Gigantes is 80% crush armor, 44% pierce armor. This siege tower does absolute work against Heca Gigantes, as the mummy coming in will also be able to finish this one off, though the siege tower goes down, so a relatively decent trade there nonetheless for Tiger Boss, as Chemo still trying to push through here. Tiger Boss retreating back into you, as the mercenary cavalry coming in to tank the damage. How much damage they tank at 41% pierce armor here. Tiger Boss now, he's not getting all too much, not getting any armory upgrades, still just stuck on his heavy units, not able to get back up to supply here. His population is 132 of 160, and Chemo has got himself champion chariots in. Contarias coming through aren't going to be that much of a help in this situation. More units falling on the front here as the Axemen coming in to try and take down these destroyers incredibly fast. Chariot Arch is able to take down units not named Destroyer. Mostly is really, really good. We do see a Sky Passage coming in here for Tiger Boss, but is that going to help at all? I'm not sure. Villagers moving in onto this position, probably going to throw a side build down here somewhere as well. As he does throw that Migdol down, he's attempting to. Both those hyenas are dead there, so this is going to be a terrifying Migdol for Tiger Boss to deal with, as Chemo is slowly expanding his influence in this map. Very, very strong play thus far, as Tiger Boss does decide in the 21st minute of this game that he can no longer compete with the might that is Ra. The Helios here, I love the Helios try from Tiger Boss, but I mean, you got to ask, how do you make the attack work? How do you kill an Egyptian town center, or any town center for that matter? And the answer is hack damage units and siege units. and we didn't have enough there to take that town center. Kim was able to defend it, and then after that, he's just on the back foot. So the question really does become, how do I get utility out of the Mythic Age? How do I continue to get some sort of timing with a Rhino? So Rhinos is 100% based off of timings here. If you can't get that gold star that I felt like was fairly available for Tiger Boss, then the next step is, well, I got to get a Titan out. You have to go Titan here. And then if you get the Titan out, then you can use your Vortex to attempt to take your opponent's Titan gate down, and then you have a Titan, they don't. You get that advantage in that way. But Tiger Boss went for the town center, didn't work. Chemo survives, and he's managed to push back and get that dub there. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.